Welcome to today's fantastic journey. Rumor has it that there's a mad scientist on this island conducting brain experiments. It's scarier than a horror movie. This fella aimed for quick cash, but became a lab rat. Soon, he transformed like a monster. Almost sent his professor sky high. After a year in the super-duper prison number 3, he was released and went back to craziness, killing 3 people in a bar. What a nightclub tyrant. Even stranger, he asked the judge to end it all. He'd rather stay in prison than face the horrors again, but the judge just gave him a permanent address. When Nick found him, George was in great shape, shoeless, like a guru, saying doctors took his brain, and Nick's mission is to blow the lid off. Akin thought things were smelling fishy. Maybe this is the director's trap, like a real-life escape room. In such a heavily guarded prison, how could Laura just vanish? Was she even real to begin with? Someone's gotta expose this scheme. Nick claims he's on the case, being cheeky like a detective. Just as he was about to retort, the warden appears like magic, just like a twist from a TV show, whisking them back to the prison in a hurry. After washing up, with no clothes to change into, they had to wear oversized patient gowns. What a sight. The warden announced at the meeting that the surprise storm might trigger a prisoner uprising, so they decided to tie up the dangerous inmates. It's like being in a movie. Nick noticed that, according to the warden, there were only 66 patients on the island. Where's the 67th inmate? Are they playing poker on the side? He flat out asked the warden about the 67th inmate, and the warden innocently said, "I don't know." Nick thought, yeah, right. The warden shifted the topic, announcing good news: Laura was found. Yet shoeless, she exuded the crazy woman vibe. Nick cautiously asked where Laura had been, and she said she took the kids to school and then to the river. Nick was like, where did that rumor come from? She excitedly mistook Nick for her husband, then snapped back, demanding, "Who are you? Where's my husband?" Nick was utterly clueless. The warden then told Nick that when they found Laura, she was skipping stones by the lighthouse. Talk about a quirky little spot. But Nick had another headache due to lack of sleep, and the warden served him water and meds like a delivery person. Nick still felt uneasy. Despite being a bit skeptical of the warden, Nick quickly took the meds, then was sent to the infirmary, only to end up in a Luon dream. In the dream, he met his wife again. Was this the "I saw you in my dreams" kind of moment? When he woke up, the infirmary was a total mess. The wind from last night knocked everything out of whack. When they stepped out, it was a mess. So, they decided to sneak into prison 3. Exciting. They encountered a guard who spotted they weren't inmates. I show up as a detective. He warned them to be careful of escaping convicts. They might attack anytime. Just then, as the iron gate opened, a bold inmate sprinted out, as if in some crazy sprinting competition. Nick hurriedly chased after him, only to get his throat grabbed, but like a super soldier, he quickly took him down. Then the guard heard the ruckus and came over. Akin helped drag the inmate away, but refused Nick's help. It was also dramatic. Nick seized the opportunity to head up to the prison floor, only to see a whole bunch of bad boys terrifying. He was shocked to find none other than George, the college student. There was he, the guardian of the island. George seemed to know everything, telling Nick, "You're not here to investigate, you're just a pawn in the game." He also mentioned the lighthouse, where inmates were taken for experiments, like something out of Lost Island. Akin hurried back to find Nick, saying they had to escape quickly, otherwise they'd be in a heart-stopping drama. Nick's records indicated he was as far from the lighthouse as the Pacific Ocean. It was all cliff-edge danger. He decided to backtrack and look for a small path over the cliff, only to be surprised when Akin started backpedaling, suddenly feeling like a big-shot detective. Then he found the records of the missing Andrew. Akin warned that the sun was setting and staying near the cliff was dangerous, but Nick wasn't listening. Nick was determined to find out what was hidden in the lighthouse, but when he got around, he discovered it was on the cliff's edge. How despairing. So he decided to go back for Akin, only to find he was gone, leaving behind a lit cigarette. What a smoke addict. Nick saw Akin's corpse below. Too dramatic. He climbed down the trail of smoke anyway. He reached the shore only to find the body gone. Nick was completely flabbergasted, turning into a headless chicken. But just as he randomly looked up, Nick saw a glow in the cave, climbed towards it, and encountered the maid armed to the teeth. After introduction, Nick learned she was an escaping prisoner who claimed no kids. She wasn't a psycho, but a nurse who accidentally discovered The warden, buying hypnosis meds to control the crazy prisoners. What a horror story. Those who took the meds suffered headaches, and Nick felt hit with a revelation. He finally understood his recent pain. It hurt so much he wanted to save those poor souls. But the warden would never let any informants go, preferring to lock them up as prisoners, leaving Nick utterly shocked. Soon, he fell asleep again. The next morning, the woman shook Nick awake, and the two continued towards the lighthouse. What a peculiar situation. Nick took the opportunity to easily topple a guard from behind, feeling like a movie spy, seizing the gun. Reaching the lighthouse top, he found the warden Ranley entering, but it was empty. Nick boldly declared, "Your gun has no bullets," and in a blink, the warden was dialing the doctor's number. Nick questioned the warden why he hid the nurse's matters, but the warden flipped it around, telling Nick the nurse doesn't exist at all. It was all Nick's hallucination. His hands uncontrollably shook, a reaction to drugs. The warden brushed it off, claiming, "You are the prisoner here." The warden pulled out his medical records from the last 2 years, and it turned out he was the 67th inmate. Nick felt like he'd just been struck by lightning.